we get started, I'd like us all to wish Elizabeth a happy birthday. She's not here because today's her birthday.
Oh.
So on the count of 3, let's all tell her happy birthday, Elizabeth, all right?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Happy birthday. Ooh, bye-bye.
Okay. So it's a beautiful day here in South Carolina. I am not going to apologize for it. The sky is blue and there are big, huge, fluffy white clouds. So everybody, on behalf of Access to Integrative Medicine, AIM Health Institute, and the GW Office of Integrative Medicine and Health, I'd like to welcome you to A Mindfulness Experience. AIM is a nonprofit organization with the mission to provide vulnerable and low-income communities with access to whole person health and wellness. GW Office of Integrative Medicine provides, Integrative Medicine and Health provides professional development, education, and community outreach to improve health and wellness. Today's facilitators are Dr. Misha Kogan and Dana Pisanelli. Dana,
That's pretty good. Pisanelli means little friend in Italian.
The wonderful Dana Pisanelli, who is a yoga instructor locally in the DC metropolitan area. Misha, as you know, is the founder and executive director of AIM Institute. He's the medical director of the GW Center for Integrative Medicine. And Dana is dedicated to helping her clients strengthen their bodies and soothe their souls through yoga. I'll now turn everything over to Dr. Kogan.
All right. So I felt like last week it was a great session, but I think there was a lot of people who wanted to ask questions which were not answered. So I do apologize for that. I think, you know, there's always a kind of a little difficult tension between the amount of didactic information versus just kind of chat and Q&A. So what I thought to do today is to do very brief with my part. I want to cover just a couple of topics. And right after that, I want us to have more time for questions and then for practice. With that, we're actually going to start to see if anybody have questions. So Suzanne puts a question: where would you look for a sitter for a 3-year-old for a mother who has just been diagnosed with nasopharyngeal cancer? She lives in Friendship Heights. Okay, for babysitter or for babysitter for a 3-year-old?
If there's someone who would be able to come in and deal with a 3-year-old for blocks of time to give the father's working from home as well.
I think if you're just looking for a regular babysitter, probably a local community would be the best place to start if you're looking for like a teenager at the low cost.
Yeah, I think it would just be somebody a little bit more mature, and then the question is safety at this point.
You know, it's not any different than bringing anybody else in the house. So if you have to do it, you want to have a thorough discussion with the person coming in. You want to make sure they don't have any excess risk, they haven't traveled anywhere, you know, that they can give you some form of sense of, you know, safety from the fact that they're not getting out there being exposed. But essentially, however you're going to do this, you're going to take a little bit of risk, not only because the person who's coming in may or may not know what they've exposed to, but also just from the fact that you know, there is a new person in the house. I look at this as just universal precautions all the time. So keep the distance inside the house from that person. I mean, you don't have to babysit holding the 3-year-old all the time. Can just be within 6 feet and watch mostly. You know, mask, although of course that's tricky. But I would probably feel in some ways even more comfortable with having a young person than kind of a professional provider who goes to see a bunch of other kids too. Yeah. So I'm just saying that again, that's why I thought just ask local community. Like in our own neighborhood, we just have, everybody knows who's which kids, because they're also kids and 13-year-olds babysit. So okay, vaccines are I'm going to come back to this because vaccines is one of the topics of discussion today anyway, so because it's all over the news. Now, next question. What is known about cross-immunity to respiratory viruses? It's a great question, such as having immunity to COVID from having had some other, okay. So it's been debated quite a lot from my readings, whether or not prior SARS exposures, and so everybody's by now probably familiar that it is coronavirus. So that's the name of the groups of viruses that are causing somewhere between 50 to 75% of all the common colds between probably late December, early January till end of the season. So they're what's called a winter viruses or winter colds. So they're predominant virus. Now, their thinking is that there is some cross-reactivity, and that's partially why the tests have not been easy to manufacture, right? Because they probably can, false positive tests may actually be from the fact that somebody may still carry an immunity and may even be exposed to other non-COVID coronaviruses. At least that this was the case early on because it was a winter. The reality is I don't think there's any clear answer to that, nor do we know whether or not there is some cross-immunity, protective cross-immunity. But there's been a lot discussed about it. There is something very unique about this virus, not just the fact that it's way more severe, but also that it appears to be a lot more resilient to all kinds of issues. Usually colds are gone by the time spring is over. This one, definitely not, so. Okay, we'll come back to vaccines. And what is likelihood that someone with COVID will later get heart problems? I heard it's, oh, no. I don't know where you heard the 70%. That's totally wrong. It's very highly individual. Person with pre-existing heart problems may be at the higher risk. I heard the statistics of universal complications somewhere between 5 to 10% in the long run. I don't know the accuracy of those statements, and that's an average pooled number, meaning that 1 out of 10 will have a long-term, potentially lifelong complications. What you may have heard is that there is a data floating around that the virus can impact heart cells. So Linda W., if that's what you heard, that is correct, and that probably is up to 70%. But that doesn't mean that the body won't conquer it, get over it, and will resolve the inflammation in that area, and it'll be, no long-term consequences. Yeah, we do know that the virus infects a variety of tissues. It's not clear whether it's a direct infectivity, meaning viruses in those cells, or it's actually just some kind of an autoimmune reaction or just an inflammatory response that those cells in specific organ end up somehow getting. I don't know. I don't think I have enough background reading to comment on that more specifically beyond that. You mentioned N-acetylcysteine supplements, previous calls. What are the benefits? NAC is N-acetylcysteine is a universal precursor to glutathione. N-acetylcysteine is itself also a free radical scavenger. So in essence, it helps you to clean the house when you get bombarded with all these viral particles that are causing increased inflammation. So as inflammation leads to junk, so you're filling up the house with the junk. If your body can't clean it, eventually you start running into the overload scenario, and this is when the inflammatory response runs amok. So the Andrew Heyman study that we've talked a little bit on several occasions here is actually testing direct application of glutathione straight on the skin as a therapeutic, not as preventive. And acetylcysteine takes quite a while to get converted to glutathione, so you have to take it for a while. But it's cheaper, it's easier to take, and more importantly, when you take it orally, it can not only get absorbed through the gut, get through the liver, but then it seems to gradually increase the level of glutathione in the blood over a period of time. So this was a detailed answer. All right. Do you need to be concerned about protecting your eyes? And oh yeah, so you're talking about Fauci's news from this morning, his statement that we probably should all be using goggles and face shields. I have a problem with this. I have a hard time imagining all of us doing this, although it may be a very wise statement that needs to be followed. One thing for sure is, think of it this way. When you get exposure through the nose, specifically or mouth, when you inhale, you draw in the particles. The eyes can't do that. So even if some particles, droplets, end up in the eye, chances are amount of exposure is going to be smaller. It shouldn't comfort anybody, but it's just my way of thinking that probably the dose of inoculum through the eyes is much smaller. Nonetheless, I wish I could tell you more. But in a hospital, nobody wears shields unless they go into the patient's room who has known COVID, but then you have a whole bunch of other way you're doing. Your masks are more stringent, you're in a whole body gown, your face is shielded, etc. Okay, vaccine. So first of all, disclosure, since I'm on the faculty, GW is part of the Moderna trial that is started, I believe, this week. So we can, anybody who want to get into the trial, I'm supposed to tell you that you can contact me and I will forward you the information. Of course, it's a trial, so you have to agree to get the vaccine with all possible risks and benefits ratio being unknown. So FYI, but the vaccines are literally here. Their efficacy is not yet fully understood. Their side effects is not fully understood, but the trial has begun. There's going to be a van, literally like a mobile, for lack of a better description, vaccinator that will be somewhere downtown. I think they're probably going to move at different locations and enrolling people. I think the goal for GW, 500 patients, and of course it's a national trial and done in multiple facilities, multiple academic centers. So hopefully they'll recruit patients fast enough. That's the biggest problem, is to get enough participants to get the data out. And let me go back and see what the question was. Please speak about, eyes, I know you talked about that. Speak about that. Okay, so let me pause here and see if anybody has specific questions about vaccines. And we'll come back to the eyes. You know, there's several other vaccines. AstraZeneca is actually what's some of our faculty staff also getting involved in. But that's not going to be available for public. That vaccine is first going to be offered in a trial form for healthcare providers. That's my understanding. So I think the only one that public can have access basically immediately if you want to enroll into a trial is Moderna. And that's also, you probably have read all kinds of back and forth different informations about that vaccine, that this is the high dose vaccine that's thought to have more efficacy and possibly more side effects. But again, none of this is really fully yet clear, and probably will not be clear for, I don't know, 3 months, somewhere in that range.
Misha, can I just say something quickly about it?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to say that the doctor who's running this trial has run many vaccine trials. He's extremely well versed in this. So if you are interested in doing a vaccine trial, Dr. Deemer is a great person to do it with. You would be in good hands. And he is asking for 2-year follow-up. So this is a long-term study. Quick and fast to try and get it approved, but then they want to see how long it works. Because that's really the ultimate goal, is hopefully this is something that you could take every 2 years. Wouldn't that be great? Easier than the flu shot. So something to consider. And also, if it's something that you're concerned about, this may be a way to possibly get access to a vaccine sooner. Just something to consider.
And I'm apologizing, and if I have a minute during the practice, I'll take a look, because I actually do have a protocol, but I forgot to take a look at the exclusion criteria to tell who cannot even apply. So my fault, I'm sorry, but I'll mention that there got to be some specifics. That every trial has a very specific guidelines who can or cannot enroll. But I haven't looked at that for this one. So
Misha,
yeah.
Let's hold that until after the mindfulness practice.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah, then we can start. I don't see any other questions that are vaccine related anyway, so I think we can.
Oh, where is the doctor? Dr. Deemer is at GW.
Yeah.
So you would be at the Foggy Bottom campus. Good question.
Okay. So I would like to turn things over to Dana.
Thank you, Janet. Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Pisanelli. I'm your mindfulness instructor for the day. And I chose for today's practice a practice called Yoga Nidra. So I personally have been practicing yoga from the 90s when it was called New Agey. But what motivated me to become an instructor was a very difficult time dealing with an aggressive cancer in 2007 and a very arduous treatment where Yoga Nidra was one of the main practices and tools that allowed me to relieve anxiety and stress. And so I thought it would be a very helpful practice for all of us today. It's a meditation that provides and promotes deep relaxation. And it's also considered mindful because if you practice it regularly, it helps to train you to become more detached and not to just react reflexively when external circumstances may ordinarily cause stress. So I hope that you find it helpful. It is called Yoga Nidra because it means yogic sleep. And that's not to say that I intend to put you all to sleep today, although if you do doze off, I won't be insulted. But it's more because the practice of this guided meditation generally allows you to achieve a state that approaches when you're falling asleep in the evening or when you're first waking up in the morning. So it's sort of semi-consciousness. And you may find that your attention is moving in and out, and that's perfectly normal. Just follow the sound of my voice, and it will allow you to relax and be able to get to derive all the benefits of this practice. So Yoga Nidra is traditionally practiced lying down, but it can also be practiced seated. So you have the option. If you are a yoga practitioner, you're familiar with Shavasana, which is the final relaxation pose where you lie on the mat with your arms out to the sides and your eyes closed. But if that's not accessible for you today, or you would prefer to sit, Yoga Nidra will work just as well as long as you're comfortably seated so that you can remain still throughout the practice without any discomfort. Now, if discomfort should arise, I don't want you to struggle. Please make an adjustment. But right now, I'd ask you to get into a comfortable position where you'll be able to remain still for about a 20-minute practice. And after you've gotten comfortably seated, or you're lying on the floor or on the sofa, or you're somewhat reclined, I invite you to close your eyes and turn your focus inward. And I'm going to turn off my video so that you won't be distracted and you'll just be listening to the sound of my voice. So let's begin by tuning into the breath. Taking a nice, deep, slow, long inhalation. And as you exhale, let go of any worries or distracting thoughts. And then let's do that again. Everyone, please just relax your torso, your belly, creating space to take in a long, smooth, slow, deep inhale through the nose. And see if you can even lengthen your exhale as you release and let go. Just continue following the sound of my voice throughout today's practice, remaining awake and aware. And return to an easy rhythm of breathing to further relax you. Let each breath flow through you like a wave. We'll begin by observing any sounds you may hear that are in the distance. Just noticing them without focusing, without trying to determine their origin or finding any of them disturbing. And slowly begin to bring your attention to any sounds that may be closer. Until you're aware of your body on the floor relaxing. Become aware of the sound of my voice, leaving those other sounds behind, and say to yourself, I am awake, I am aware, and I am practicing Yoga Nidra. Now, if you like, I invite you to state to yourself an intention for today's practice in the form of an affirmation, a positive short statement. It could be, I am open, I am whole, I am relaxed, I am healthy. If you choose to set a resolution or an affirmation. And if you do, quietly repeat it to yourself with sincerity and belief. Now we will begin a rotation of the consciousness experience. We'll transfer your awareness swiftly to different parts of your body while remaining still. Just allow your mind to move quickly from part to part, staying alert, but without straining. This is intended to be a relaxing journey through different parts of your body, making sure not to actually move any part that's being mentioned. So begin by becoming aware of your right hand. Draw awareness to your right hand, thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, the palm of your right hand, the back of your right hand, your wrist, your entire right arm, your right shoulder, your right armpit, the right side of your body, your right hip, your entire right leg, your right ankle, your right foot, the top of the right foot, the sole of the right foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, the entire right side of your body. Now become aware of your left hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, the back of your left hand, the palm, the left wrist, the entire left arm, left shoulder, armpit, left side of the body, left hip, the entire left leg, left ankle, left foot, the top of the left foot, the sole of the left foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Moving to the back of the body, be aware of your shoulder blades, your glutes, your spine, your entire back body. Moving to the front of your body, draw your awareness to the top of your head, to your forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, right eye, left eye, right cheek, left cheek, your nose, upper lip, lower lip, chin, throat, the chest, abdomen, pelvis, the whole right leg, the whole left leg, both legs together, the whole right arm, the whole left arm, both arms together, the whole back of the body, the whole front of the body, the whole body together on the floor or in the chair. Remaining awake and aware, feel your whole body resting, completely still, relaxed, softening, and sinking. Visualize your whole body relaxed and at rest. Now return your awareness to your breath and feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest and rib cage and belly as you slowly breathe and feel nourishing energy flowing through you. As you continue to breathe, become aware of the sensation of heat in your body. You're outside on a scorching, hot, sunny summer day. Feel sweat running down your body. Feel intense heat on your skin. Now allow the sensation of heat to fade away. Experience the sensation of intense cold. Imagine you are standing in the snow without a coat or boots. Visualize the goosebumps rising on your skin. Feel your body shivering. Now allow the sensation of cold to fade away. Awaken the sensation of being wet. You're walking outside in a jungle during a torrential rainstorm, water dripping from your hair, your drenched clothes sticking to your skin. Allow this wet sensation to fade away. Now experience the sensation of being dry. You're standing in a desert, the most arid desert in the world. Your skin feels parched. Your throat feels like sandpaper, craving a single drop of water. Now allow the sensation of dryness to leave you. Now imagine the whole body becoming light, as though your body could float away from the floor and toward the ceiling. The head is light and weightless. The limbs are light. The torso is weightless. The whole body light and weightless, rising higher and higher away from the floor or up from your chair. You allow the feeling of floating and lightness to dissipate. Imagine your body becoming heavy. Feel the heaviness in all parts of the body, each part becoming heavier and heavier and heavier. The head is heavy, the limbs are heavy, the torso is heavy, the whole body is heavy, so heavy it is sinking into the floor or the chair where you're seated. Now allow the sensation of heaviness to leave you. Concentrate now on the space in front of your closed eyes. You'll begin to notice a screen of the mind. Concentrate on the screen and become aware of any colors, patterns, or light you may see. Continue to be aware of the space, but do not become involved. Become detached. Practice detached awareness as you visualize on the screen of your mind the color blue, a snowy day, a baby laughing, your reflection in a mirror, Buddha meditating, a full moon, a bouquet of roses, tall trees, a burning flame, cool, clear water, a cat stretching, a vibrant sunset, a warm embrace. Feel yourself being held, fully supported, fully relaxed. Continuing to keep your attention on the space in front of you, the screen of the mind. Allow yourself to take this journey with me. Imagine you're on your favorite beach, walking along the shore. The sun is coming up. There's beautiful, brilliant shades of pink and orange in the clouds. You can feel the sea breeze tickling your skin, smell the salt air, and feel the sand between your toes. You can hear the sound of gentle waves rolling onto the sand. You turn and look out towards the horizon and notice dolphins swimming close to the shore. You stop to watch and see one arc up out of the water and dive down gracefully, disappearing beneath the surface. Another dolphin jumps up even higher, flipping over in the air, and re-entering the water nose first without a splash. You smile as you observe the dolphins at play. And you flash back to when you were a child, when you would skip or run or dance, you don't do those things anymore because you're expected to act like an adult. You glance around and notice the beach is deserted. You're totally alone, and a laugh escapes your lips. You begin to skip through the sand and allow this playful feeling to wash over you like a rolling wave. The years seem to drop away. You feel happy, full of joy, like an innocent child. You feel so free. You raise your arms in the air and twirl around, taking a deep inhale and a breath that has never felt so renewing. Now allow these images to slowly fade away. If you set an intention or a resolve, repeat it to yourself 3 times now with full sincerity and belief. And return your attention to the rhythm of your breath, feeling it as it flows in and out of your nose, maintaining your awareness of smooth, slow, easy breathing. Develop an awareness of your state of relaxation. Notice your body resting in the chair or on the floor. Notice the parts of your body touching the floor or touching the chair. Begin to notice any sounds in the distance and any that may be closer. Visualize where you are, if you're inside the floor, the windows, walls, and ceiling. And then very slowly begin to move your fingers and toes. Just wiggling fingers and toes and perhaps circling your wrists and ankles. Begin to take a bit deeper inhale and stretch in any way that feels loving and kind. Perhaps yawning or stretching your arms overhead. If you are lying down, bend your knees and roll to one side, taking a few deep breaths. If you're seated, feel free to do the same. And then slowly flutter your eyes open. And take a pause just to notice how you're feeling. As the practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. I wish you peace and continued good health. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Dana.
My pleasure.
I realized it takes a special concentration to do this when you have mosquitoes and flies land all over you. But it's actually an interesting practice in itself. You can let it go even if they sting you. It's just, after all, It's not such a big deal. Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm delighted to help.
Okay, Misha, do you have any other questions that we need to answer?
That's what I'm looking for.
I didn't see any.
Yeah. I'm scrolling back just to make sure we didn't miss anything. I think one question was if this is an open-ended question for the forum. If anybody, so I know we're going to try to, we actually already organized to bring somebody who will do Qigong, a friend of mine, James Folks. He's already scheduled for early September. But if anybody have any specific requests in terms of the what parts of the mindfulness practice you would like to experience, let us know. And if you have a teacher in mind, also let us know. We'll be more than happy to get in touch with that person and see if it's appropriate for us to bring that person on. So.
Thanks for remembering to do that, Misha.
Yeah, so Jenny asking, do I recommend a Tai Chi teacher? Yes, actually there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole network. It's actually gotten more complicated because very few of them have currently switched to Zoom, and I'm not sure exactly why that is. It appears that yoga teachers shifted quicker. But I do know that James does teach a weekly Qigong class on Thursdays as an example. So yes. Oh, there is a question we missed and somebody reposting this. Skin irritation around the eyes, eyelids, could that be somehow related to COVID exposure? Very unlikely if that's the only symptom. If it's a part of a complex presentation, yes, absolutely, it's possible. But as a single presentation, it's not a COVID, I would say. I'm not sure if I answered the question right. Mary, feel free to expand on your question or just unmute and say what the point, what did you mean?
Yeah, my question was just, I noticed like a little bit of skin irritation around the mouth, around face. I think I was thinking it was just around because of face masks, but then I also sometimes notice it around my eyes and eyelids.
Yeah, it could all be from face mask.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know material you're using?
Yeah, it's a lot of the ones. Sometimes I use cloth, and then when I'm at work, the hospital provides kind of just the general sort of made in China cheap mask.
Yeah, we had a whole little in training on a mask skin irritation. There's apparently a whole big deal because especially if you or other people have to wear it all day long, then the chances of skin getting irritated is very high. So I'm guessing that's what this is. Mm-hmm. The in short, don't use steroids. They're not going to solve this because it's a continuous irritant. Steroids not designed for that. You know, you can use barrier protective methods, any kind of oily material that agrees with your skin. Shea butter, cocoa butter, coconut oil for a lot of people on the face is not great. It's too oily. You can do that. You can also use things like zinc oxide topical, basically baby diaper rash creams. Anything that will insulate the skin from the immediate effect of the mask. The eyes, I don't think I can comment. I think that'll need to potentially get some professional look if it's not getting self-resolved. So, yeah. But it's actually a very important point you brought up. Especially those of us who's going to wear masks continuously for prolonged periods of time, we need to be ready to handle those minute, they're very minor, usually issues, but still they're there. Thank you, Leigh, for sending the 22-minute yoga nidra practice link. It's very good.
I also just sent a link to an interview that the GW Dermatology Interim Chair did about rashes and masks. That could be very useful
He actually gives a step-by-step guide.
Great. So the bacteria in the masks, yeah, there's been concerns about that somebody who's using same mask over and over and over again potentially can recirculate some pathogens in and out the mask. I think there are certain recommendations that now that we seem to have less concerns with, and everybody have masks now, I think not using the masks designed for single use for more than a couple of times is probably wise. If you're using cotton, I would suggest you get a couple of the masks and then just simply wash them frequent enough and use a standard washer and dryer. That should take care of any kind of bacterial contaminants and wash them off. Especially if you're really concerned, just run them through the hot wash. The temperature will also assist. So. And feel free, Linda W, if you feel, oh yes, thank you for sharing the resource on the Qigong teacher. So we'll do more of that in upcoming weeks. So I guess with that, unless there's any other last points, we're right on time. 2:50. Hope everybody survives another hot DC weather, and if you're not in DC like me, sorry for you in DC. But it'll end soon, I think. After all, it's already August. Not yet, tomorrow. But.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend.
And
And
thank
we'll
you,
see
Dana,
next
again.
week.
Bye.